Okay, here we go. Welcome, everyone. This is Aubrey with Crybaby's Sentimental Homestead, and I have a little box that I got from a yard sale this summer, and I'm going to use this to temporarily hold some of the new seeds I got in the mail. These seeds came from Strictly Medicinal. I just opened the package, and I have not looked through them yet. I just needed to have it open so I could use one hand. This package here is, okay, this is cool. So, you might have seen these colors, like on ornamental Indian or Native American corn varieties. Love that, but if you notice, if you look closely, it doesn't look, you can kind of tell that it's kind of like a dent corn or a sweet corn that's dried. Looks different than regular like popcorn. This is actually a multicolored sweet corn. Usually when you see multicolored corn, it's usually dent corn or field corn, which is, you let it completely dry and then you grind it up. But this is a sweet variety, and it matures after only 75 days, which is fabulous. A lot of corn takes 100 or 110 days, and this is only 75. So I love how beautiful and colorful it is. And I also like that it's a sweet corn, and how fast it matures to 75 days. Now, sweet corn, if you're eating it in the milk stage, that's why it's 75 days. If you want to save seeds, you probably need to pull it to the whole 110 or more days. So, and this is a 100 grams. I'm not sure how many seeds that is, but it's a lot. And then I really love Strictly Medicinal, and something I like about this company, besides the fact that they have a really high germination rate, excuse the wobbliness, just trying to focus a little bit. They often have seed varieties that other companies don't carry. You do need to be cautious and know your varieties, because they do sell some things that are not like safe to ingest, and they might say something like there's use of this in the past by different cultures for this or that, and there might be other more current pieces of information that say it's not safe. So you definitely want to do your own research. But I love, if you're kind of I wouldn't say would be a company for beginners. I'd say it's more for people who have been gardening for a while and want some other things. Now, Kentucky Wonder pole beans, you could probably find in many different companies. I found that they were sold out in a lot of places, so I bought them from Strictly Medicinal. These are 70 days annuals. And it does need a trellis. So, I know this is a very common one for people to grow. I actually haven't grown Kentucky Wonder pole beans. I have a lot of other types that I grow. I really love dragon tongue beans. Those are really easy. I also like scarlet runner beans, tiger eye beans, orchid beans, garbanzo, and fava. But I do think it would be fun to grow these. And I used to live in Kentucky, so I like to plant some things that are named for places that I've lived. And I lived in Fort Campbell, Kentucky when I was a kid. So this is a Mohawk pole bean. And I'm always interested in plants that are named after Native American tribes. I do want to look up to see like what's the history on it. One of the things I do really like about Baker Creek is that they'll tell you like a story. The information here is all very important, like how to grow it. This is a really wonderful company, you guys. I'm telling you, they're really good. And I always like to do, like, I like to combine the information. Like, I want to know the story behind it, but I also want to know how to grow it and all those kinds of helpful tips. And so this is going to go with my bean stash. I do not sort my bean and corn seeds in with my other seeds. The reason being they're so large, they take up so much space. I do tend to keep them in other totes or containers that are separate. Mohawk pulping, I got another one. Market More cucumber. You can find these other places. I wanted to make sure that I have, ample seeds for this coming spring. And sometimes you can get Market More at like the Dollar Tree. I've seen those there. I've also seen them at the Dollar General. You can get them, definitely can get them cheaper. But when I was looking around, some of these very popular varieties were sold out. So I thought it'd be good to grab some of those. Because people don't think to go to probably Strictly Medicinal for the typical things. We have, I'm not sure how to say this, Lauki gourd. And I thought it was funny because it's also known as Loki, right? So this is an edible fruited bottle gourd, also known as Loki, and it's an annual vine. Something I recently started growing some different kinds of gourds. I never realized before how beautiful the flowers are. They're really, they have kind of a lacy, frilly look to them. And the ones I've seen have been white and very dainty and delicate looking. So I think it's fun to grow the gourds just for the flowers even. I had some that I tried to grow, didn't turn out very well, but I tried to grow the birdhouse gourds and they didn't mature in time for me. But the flowers, it was worth growing just for that. I would definitely grow it again and then just start earlier, I think. I do like this because it says that it is edible. And I'm all into that. There are quite a few gourd varieties which are not edible. Okay. And fun story. I previously posted a video about how diverse religion is in my family. When my parents were first married, besides being hippies, they also went through a 4-year period where there are Jehovah's Witnesses, and my older brother didn't get to have TV or celebrate Christmas and stuff like that for 4 years, and he always torments my folks by complaining about when he only had gourds to play with, and he would pretend that the gourds were people and make them interact, and he'd also pretend that they were like bombs and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, but this will be really fun. Loki edible fruited bottle gourd, and it does require trellising. That's important to know. And this here, so I have tons and tons of lavender. I have French and English, and I have it growing all over the front and back in pots, and I give them away, and I collect seeds. The reason, though, I'm buying this one is because it's yellow. So it says it's a rare herbaceous perennial. So it's a lot different, and it does prefer full sun and dry soil. And with our summers getting so hot and dry in Washington State, I thought, it would probably be good. A lot of my lavender in the front got so scorched this summer, and they were mature, really established plants. But it was dry, and we were on a watering schedule. My August water bill was $450. Out of control crazy. I've never had a water bill like that high. And I was watering only on the days we were supposed to. And I don't have an irrigation system. I was hand watering. It was not more water than what I previously, like last year, had used. Last year, I remember August being extremely expensive, and it was $200. It was $450 this August. So I was thinking about it, and if my French lavender doesn't survive, I'm gonna grow these, and when it comes time to replacing them, I will put these in that place because I'm thinking they might be a little bit more. Lavender should be pretty good with uh, like less water and more sunshine. But our summers have been getting really hot here, and I'm going to give this a try. It says they like to have cold, moist stratification. That's true of purple lavender varieties as well, but I have never cold stratified my lavender, and I've always had like 90 plus germination rate from my own plants. So I will try a few seeds without doing the whole stratification, and if they don't sprout in like, I don't know, 20 days, then I'll stratify the other ones. Because, you know, when you're a beginner, you make mistakes and sometimes you don't realize it because it works. And then somebody tells you later that it was a mistake. With the lavender, that was the case. I gathered the seeds, I planted them fresh, and into like little containers with, you know, just like really moist soil with a lid on top. They sprouted wonderfully, and I would just like prick them out into their own little containers, and they just did really well. And then I later found out you're supposed to put them on a damp paper towel and plastic bag in your refrigerator for a certain amount of time, and then take them out and then do all that stuff. And I skipped all those steps, and I did fine. So if you don't have to, then I guess you don't have to. Here we have the red curry squash, and I've heard really good things about red curry. And I did buy red curry from one of our local farms with the idea of getting it out and taking the seeds and using it. I've heard really good things about how delicious it is and how productive they are. So it says you can plant 7 seeds per hill, and I honestly don't even know what they mean by per hill. I've seen all kinds of people how they plant things. I think I will just, because I don't have like good topography like that, I think I'll just make sure that they have really good nutrients in the soil and good enough spacing that they're not competing too much. And I honestly, I can't plant 7 and then get rid of 4. So I would plant them like spaced. And if a couple of them don't make it, then I'd probably have some backup that I could just pop in. I know squash don't really love to be, if you leave them in like a little 3 or 4 inch pot for too long, they will get root bound and they'll be stunted like forever. I made a huge mistake with that this summer. This spring, I had 2 huge flats full of different kinds of pumpkins and squashes, and I really should have transplanted them when they were like 3 or 4 weeks old into the ground, and I waited too long. And when I transplanted them, I still had lots of time in the end of the summer and early fall for them to continue growing, but they didn't actually, the plants did not grow anymore. So I really think that starting direct sowing is really good to do. It says directly in the garden. You might get away with starting some squash like 2 weeks early, but you can't let them get root bound and really can't have them disturbed. So some kind of like compost, really like fast dissolving compostable pot might work better than what I did. I definitely messed up because I've grown squash in the past and had just tons of pumpkins. So direct sowing is best if you don't have the space. Like, I didn't have the area cleaned out yet, so I was trying to buy time by putting them into flats. They were like 3 or 4 inch containers, but still, yeah. And especially if you're paying a lot for seeds, you want to make sure that they make it right. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of them in here. It's only 10 seeds. But once you have them thriving, you'll have seeds for life. So one pumpkin has hundreds of seeds in there. So if I can just get one curry squash to survive, hopefully more than that, because I've heard that they're just delicious. So definitely going to grow these this year. And then the last packet in this order, is just very basic zucchini midnight lightning. I like that this variety is 55 days to maturity, which is a little bit shorter than some other varieties. This one says it has exceptional flavor. Okay. I forget the variety. I started really late this summer. It was really good. It was something like exceptional, or like some word that means like it's top notch, The variety I grew, it was like 45 days, but 55 days is very good. And I'm sure that these seeds are going to be really high quality. My husband really likes zucchini. I like zucchini bread, and I do like zucchini like in a stir fry, but he'll eat zucchini in soups and almost just by itself. The last couple of years, we have not had the zucchini curse, which is usually supposed to be you have too much zucchini. But squashes and zucchinis and cucumbers in Washington State have not been doing well. I don't know if it's just the climate things that we're going through, lack of water, how dry and hot it's been. We don't usually have summers that are in the hundreds, but we've had many days in the upper 90s and 100 degrees weather. Summer before last, we were well over 105 degrees. I remember because it was during my daughter's quinceanera, and it was 105 degrees, and we were figuratively melting. So, zucchinis and squashes, at least the varieties that I've grown, have not loved that change in weather. It says you need to water once or twice until germination. Occasional watering will collapse if it's overwatered. Now, the impression everyone has of Washington State is how much it rains here, and that's certainly true. It was my entire childhood. I remember one summer where it rained like practically every day. But the last 4 or 5 years, they've been extremely dry, and every summer's gotten hotter than the previous. So, it does not rain in the summer here very often. I don't think we had precipitation this summer. If we did, it was like a blink of an eye and it was gone. So the soil was so dry. We had to water. And if we hadn't watered, everything would have been dead. Whereas 10 years ago, you could go away for a week and come back and everything was fine. So something's amiss, and it makes me nervous because zucchinis are usually so prolific that you're literally trying to there's jokes about leaving zucchinis on your neighbor's porch and then ringing the doorbell and running away. It's a prank, but I actually didn't get only a few summer squash and a few zucchini out of my garden this year. I ended up buying some from somebody in the back of their truck because I was like, I just need to have some. I planted all these things and I didn't have a harvest, and so I'm looking for some varieties that are as short as possible and will produce as quickly as can be. So hopefully this is going to be a good variety for me. I'm still spacing out on the other variety that I really liked, but I didn't get it from them. Strictly Medicinal. I'm going to zoom in kind of on their name here. They're fabulous. I was looking for seeds for ice cream bean trees. And I had watched some show about this tree that can grow in humid subtropical areas like Hawaii, but it's actually from like central, south. You can find them probably in Mexico, so it's North America, but also in like Central America and northern South America. I'm not sure where else you might find them, but ice cream bean trees are like these really cool trees that have long pods, and you can scoop out the flesh around the seeds, and it's supposed to taste like vanilla ice cream. And I thought how cool that is. And I know the temperature here is not amenable to growing them outdoors, but I thought, well, maybe I could try growing them inside. And I did buy some seeds from a lady in Maui, and she mailed them to me. They were like $15 for 3 seeds, and this was like over a decade ago. And then I got an infestation of mealybugs that killed my plants. And so I looked again. I tried to find seeds again, and they were like $30 for 3 seeds. And on like eBay and Etsy and stuff, it was really hard to find them. And I went to Strictly Medicinal and I typed it in, and they had ice cream bean tree seeds. And some seeds, when you get them from this company, you might not know that some of them need to be planted right away. The seeds that I showed today are all dry seeds that do not need to be planted immediately. But if you buy something like true garlic seeds, or ice cream bean tree seeds, or I don't know if they carry pawpaw, but I bought pawpaw trees from another place, and those seeds are moist, and you have to keep them damp. And as soon as you get them, you have to plant them immediately. When I got my ice cream bean tree seeds from Strictly, they were already sprouting. And that actually happens in the plant, the fruit itself, like the ice cream bean pod. The seeds will actually be sprouting in the pod already. So I was really happy because I had like 100% germination, and all of my trees are doing very well. They're small because I'm keeping them indoors, but I was very, very impressed that Strictly actually carried those seeds in the first place. And I was pleasantly surprised by the germination rate, how well the seedlings have done. I have them in containers that are about 1 gallon right now, and they have to be 3 years by now. I'm going to have to do a video later on in the future where I show like transplanting them, potting them or something, so you can see the leaf patterns on the ice cream bean trees are very unique. I've seen nothing like that in any house plant or, native plant, outdoor plants, ornamentals. I haven't seen any leaf pattern like what they have. It's very cool just for the foliage. If I never even get a fruit off of it, it's worth growing just for how beautifully ornamental they are. So, like I said, I also got my Angelica Kiski. I had seeds from them, and I got the plants. I also was able to find Tulsi, holy basil. They have plants. They also had Immortality Vine, which I have been looking for a lot of places. Unfortunately, it died, but that's probably my fault. I didn't transplant it fast enough. So, Immortality Vine is a really cool thing. You should Google that. There's not a lot of information about them, but Immortality Vine is pretty cool and it's unique. So if you're looking for something that's a little bit outside of the box, they do, like I said, they do have some things that are like standard, like the Kentucky pole beans and some different varieties of corn, but they're very unique. Lots of stuff, if you're bored and you've like basically grown everything already, if you go to them, you will find that you have not grown everything yet. So here's their information. It is www.strictlymedicinalseeds.com. And I don't get any kind of, I'm just sharing this because my order came and I love this company. I don't get any kickbacks or anything like that. Be careful. There are some herbs on there that like have side effects, but there are some things on there that are really like amazing, like life-changing type plants that could be very helpful in a medicinal herb garden. You just need to be knowledgeable and do your own research and make sure that you know what you're doing. But very great company, and I'm going to put these all into this box here for safekeeping, and I will organize them another day. So I have a sorting system, which I'll share sometime. I have all my seeds alphabetized except for the beans and corn. I keep them in separate containers because they take up so much space. But anyhow, you guys have a wonderful day, and hopefully you'll check out Strictly Medicinal. Bye-bye now.